China just stopped exporting phosphate. The United States just lifted sanctions on Belarus potash, for hostages. 3 companies in America, Nutrien, Mosaic, CF Industries, control U.S. potash, phosphate, and nitrogen. And global fertilizer demand hit a record 205 million tons in 2025. The fertilizer cycle isn't a commodity story anymore. It's geopolitics. Here's the part that doesn't add up. The world produced more food than ever in 2025. The same year, the 2 biggest potash exporters had sanctions, and the 3rd largest phosphate exporter shut its quota. And yet U.S. fertilizer stocks were the best-performing AG complex of the year. 3 commodities, 1 chain. Potash. 2025 global market, roughly $79 billion on 75 million tons. Used for soybeans, corn, fruit. Russia and Belarus historically control around 40% of world supply. Phosphate. Roughly 75 million tons globally. China is the swing producer. Florida and Brazil hold the West's reserves. Nitrogen, urea and ammonia. Made from natural gas. Tampa ammonia benchmark roughly $608 per metric ton in early 2026. Urea $577. Total fertilizer demand 2025, 205 million tons. The previous record was 201 million in 2020. Demand is back. Supply is constrained. And policy moves are now bigger drivers than weather. Late 2024. China's National Development and Reform Commission suspended what it calls orderly exports of phosphate fertilizer through August 2026. Scale: China exported 6.56 million tons of phosphate in 2024, DAP 3.3 million, MAP 1.6 million. That's roughly a quarter of global trade volume. May to September 2025 quota, DAP 2 million tons, MAP 1 million. Through September, actual exports came in at -20 to 24% year-over-year. The deeper driver, phosphate, is a raw input for LFP lithium batteries. China's LFP capacity needs an estimated additional 4.4 million tons of phosphorus by 2025. That's a structural reallocation, battery industry pulling phosphate away from agriculture. China also cut its annual phosphate mining cap from 150 million to 140 million tons. They're not just slowing exports. They're shrinking domestic supply. December 13, 2025. The United States Treasury lifted sanctions on Belaruskali potash. OFAC general license issued December 15. Reason: a prisoner for potash deal. The Belarusian government released 14 political prisoners. The U.S., in turn, restored access to the dollar clearing system for Belarus's main potash exporter. Pre-2021, Belarus was 20% of global potash exports. Sanctions cut that to 6%. China bought 70% of what was still moving. Now the trade routes reopen. The read-through is split. Nutrien benefited from Belaruskali being constrained. They captured volume share. They lose part of that edge in 2026 if Belaruskali ramps back. Probability of that, high. Belarus shipped roughly 12 million tons in 2025 even under restrictions, up 10%. But the EU went the other way. EU tariffs on Russian and Belarusian fertilizer started July 2025 at 40 to 45 euros per ton. They escalate to 315 to 430 euros per ton by 2028. Europe is decoupling. The US is reopening. 3 companies dominate US fertilizer. Nutrien, ticker NTR. The world's largest potash company by capacity. Plus the 2nd largest US nitrogen producer. Plus a $1.7 billion EBITDA retail arm that sells crop chemicals and seeds to farmers directly. Fiscal 2025 revenue $26.9 billion. EBITDA $6.05 billion. Market cap around $35 billion. Mosaic, ticker MOS. The largest US phosphate producer, bigger than the next 2 US competitors combined. Plus 8.8 million tons of potash production in 2025, the highest since 2019. Fiscal 2025 revenue $12.05 billion. Net income $541 million versus $175 the year before, a 3 times increase. Market cap roughly $7.5 billion. CF Industries, ticker CF. The largest single ammonia producer in the world by capacity. Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Fiscal 2025 revenue $7.08 billion, up nearly 23%. Capacity utilization 99%. Market cap roughly $19.5 billion. 3 companies. 3 commodities. 1 country. Nutrien's 2025 was textbook geopolitical positioning. Potash segment EBITDA, $2.25 billion on record sales volumes. The Belaruskali sanctions diverted Asian and Latin American buyers to North American suppliers. Nutrien picked up the marginal ton. Nitrogen segment EBITDA, $2.15 billion. U.S. natural gas at $3 to $4 per MMBTU means the U.S. is the lowest cost ammonia producer in the world. CF and Nutrien run plants at 99% utilization while European competitors idle. Retail, $1.74 billion EBITDA. This is the hidden moat. Nutrien sells to roughly 500,000 farmers across North America, South America, and Australia. Crop protection, seed, AG Tech advisory. Every potash ton they make has a captive distribution channel. Yara doesn't have that. K+S doesn't. Mosaic doesn't. The risk for 2026 is exactly the Belarus reopening. They've already priced it in. Watch the Q1 2026 potash realized price relative to Tampa benchmark. Mosaic is the phosphate trade. Florida operations. Brazil operations, 1.1 million tons per year of P2O5 capacity, roughly 62% of Brazilian capacity. They are the supply-side beneficiary of the China phosphate shutdown. Phosphate segment net sales 2025, $4.6 billion. Brazil net sales, $1.6 billion, EBITDA $241 million. Potash side, 8.8 million tons produced, record since 2019. MOP shipments at record. The interesting position is upstream. Mosaic is the only public U.S. producer with significant Brazil exposure. As China stays out of the phosphate export market, Brazilian buyers, the world's biggest soybean producer, increasingly source from Mosaic instead. Net income tripled in 2025. $541 million versus $175. The cycle has turned. CF is the cleanest single commodity story. Ammonia, all from U.S. natural gas. Donaldsonville is the largest single complex in the world. 99% utilization. Revenue up 22.8% year over year. But the 2026 story is bigger. The Donaldsonville carbon capture project with ExxonMobil is operational, sequestering CO2 to qualify for the 45Q tax credit. CF management estimates roughly $100 million per year of incremental free cash flow from 45Q alone. And the new build. April 2025 final investment decision on the Blue Point project, $4 billion, joint venture with Yara of Japan and Mitsui. 1.4 million tons per year of CCS-based low-carbon ammonia. Civil work start Q2 2026. First production around 2029. Critical context. The Trump Big Beautiful Bill terminated the 45V hydrogen production credit from 2026. But it preserved 45Q for carbon sequestration. That kills electrolysis-based green ammonia and rewards CCS-based blue ammonia. CF is the biggest direct beneficiary on the public market. Outside the Big Three. ICL Group, Israel, ticker ICL, revenue $7.15 billion. They control roughly 1/3 of global bromine. Number 6 in global potash. Industrial products beyond just food fertilizer. Yara International, ticker YR.OL Norway. $15.7 billion in revenue. 8 million tons of ammonia capacity. Operates in 60-plus countries. K+S, German potash, ticker KPLUY, revenue €3.65 billion. Took a €1.58 billion non-cash impairment in 2025. Recovery scenario depends on potash prices. OCI Global. Just sold their Beaumont new ammonia plant to Woodside for $2.35 billion cash, closed December 2025. They're returning capital to shareholders. Intrepid Potash, ticker IPI, only US-only potash producer. Plus a lithium pilot at Wendover, Utah. SQM Specialty Plant Nutrition, $982 million in 2025, just one slice of SQM's overall lithium and fertilizer mix. Compass Minerals, ticker CMP. The leader in North American sulfate of potash, used for high-value crops like fruits and tree nuts. Now the structural story most analysts are missing. LFP, lithium-iron-phosphate, is the dominant chemistry for Chinese EVs and increasingly for stationary storage. Every LFP battery needs phosphate. China's domestic LFP industry is projected to need an additional 4.4 million tons of phosphorus by 2025. That's roughly 6% of global phosphate fertilizer supply, being pulled toward batteries. This is structural. Battery demand for phosphate is more inelastic than agricultural demand. Farmers can defer applications. Battery makers cannot. The result, phosphate prices are now correlated with EV adoption rates, not just crop prices. That's a pricing model change. Mosaic and OCP Morocco are the biggest non-China beneficiaries. 12 names. 3 buckets. US Big 3, Nutrien, Mosaic, CF Industries. Global and Specialty, ICL, Yara, K+S, Intrepid Potash, Compass Minerals, SQM, AG Tech and Adjacent, Corteva, splitting into seeds and crop chem in second half 2026. Bunge, closed the Viterra merger July 2025, combined revenue over $100 billion. ADM, under SEC investigation, $40 million fine, recovery story. Notably absent, Eurochem, sanctioned ownership but still operating. Phosagro, Russian listed only. OCP, Moroccan state company, not public. Almost half of global phosphate capacity is not investable on Western exchanges. That's the scarcity argument for Mosaic. Most likely path through 2027. Phosphate stays tight, probability around 70%. China extends export restrictions into 2027 to feed LFP demand. Mosaic and OCP capture the gap. Potash normalizes. Belarus ramps back into 2026 export volumes, probability 65%. Nutrien gives back some share but retains pricing power. Nitrogen consolidates around CCS, CF Industries Blue Point and Donaldsonville become the template. Yara and OCI shift toward low-carbon ammonia for marine fuel. Watch 3 signals. First, China's August 2026 phosphate quota decision. Extended restriction equals continued tight phosphate market. Second, Belarus 2026 export volume. Above 14 million tons equals normalization. Below 12 equals continued constraint. Third, CF Industries 45Q realization in calendar 2026 financials. If Donaldsonville delivers the projected $100 million incremental free cash flow, the CCS ammonia thesis is proven. Catalysts to watch: positive, a major Indian or Brazilian fertilizer subsidy program. Negative, a peace deal that reopens Russian fertilizer exports to Europe under EU tariff suspension. Upstream, natural gas, sulfur, mining concessions. Downstream, soybeans, corn, EV battery supply chain, food security policy. Personal analysis only. Not investment advice. I'm Big Z, follow me, see you in the next deep dive.